Hey,
What is up?
how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You in
I'm good.
you in San Diego right now?
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah, it's
the?
kind of hot here.
Oh,
It's
really?
like, yeah, I'm like a little sweaty. My studio gets like really warm. It
Is this the infamous studio?
is. It is.
Man, it looks so sick. I've still not been, but it looks so. I mean, is that like you've like properly decked it out? You've got like stuff all over the walls and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this like a co-hosted live video or how does that work?
I don't know. I think so.
'Cause
I think so.
you invited me to,
I invited you to join join.
yeah.
Is that how I should have done it? I don't I don't really know.
I don't know. I
I
actually haven't done this in so long. I'm like kind of
I feel like a
like out of
total
touch.
newbie. Yeah, me too. I just told the people about how I make a cup of tea, so I'm clearly really bad at this. Um, I think at the top it says for me like
Oh,
that we're
share
both
video. Oh, there. Or is that? I'm trying to.
like it should come up on your profile live. I think if that's what you mean.
That is what That is what I
Maybe
mean.
someone in the comments can tell us because we don't
Yeah,
know what we're doing here.
I
But
can't live without like exiting the video entirely.
yeah, um, let me just check that this is actually. We'll be talking for like half an hour and then figure out that we're just talking to ourselves and no one's even here.
Mhm.
Um, no, I think this is good.
Okay. Someone
Yeah.
said we can see and hear you both. That's good.
Philip, legend. Thank you, mate. Okay, wicked. Um, yeah. Well, firstly, I was just saying thank you to everyone for checking out the song, and it is. I've been a fan of. This is hilarious for us to talk in this way because usually we're just like talking very informally, and this is still the case now, but it's just hilarious with the internet and all that. But I've been a fan of your music for like so long. From I think that yeah, the first thing I saw was those was the looping videos, and then the stuff you did with Scary Pockets, and then your own music as well. Um, so it was actually before I moved to the US, we kind of like started talking online. Um, I'm curious, like how it was that you got. Didn't you say that you one of my songs just popped up on your Spotify or
Yeah.
something?
Also, I started out as a fan as well because I think it was like just Discover Weekly or something. Yeah. Well, no, yeah. You're time I was doing like a weekly radio show on AMP, like which is not a thing anymore, but it was for a year, and I was doing this weekly show like my favorite music, new music, all sorts of things. So I was always looking for new music to play on there, and I heard one of your songs. I think I played like two of your songs, and now I'm forgetting which ones. I think it was Look Back maybe,
Oh yeah.
and one other like from that era.
From that
Um,
era,
from
I'll
that
take
era. Yeah,
that
yeah.
the look back era.
Yeah. I'm forgetting the name now. I should have
No, no,
looked.
no, no.
Um,
I
but then I think I followed you on. I was like, oh, this guy makes cool music. I followed you on Instagram. I saw you were following me already, and then I went to like message you, or something. And then I messaged, or maybe you messaged me. And I saw you had messaged me, or I don't remember. But um,
yeah,
yeah,
this
that
and it's just funny. It's like it's
was like
it's
last year. That was like 2 years ago.
yeah, because I moved here like a year and a half ago, and I feel like we first met in person not too long after that. Um, yeah, but it's just really weird because like you know now we know each other in person and have obviously done this song together and blah blah blah. But it's just funny when you think back and it's like you know you're just strangers on the internet, but then you're not as well because you know each other's music, and I think through that comes like a I don't want to say like knowing each other as a person, but like I feel like I felt like we'd have a good sense of being able to work together someday. Which I'm very happy that we got to do that.
Yeah, I think something like I remember us talking about like when we were collaborating was that I think we have like a similar sense of, or like the crossover between the like musicianship kind of part of it and the like pop mentality and the songwriting, and like there's kind of that spectrum that people are on, and I think we're like in a similar spot in like different ways, but like but yeah, I'm thinking back now to like when we started working on this. That was like maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago, like when we first met. You sent me the track, and you're like, "Oh, you want to sing on this?"
The comments are just making me crack up, but I'm still completely listening.
Oh,
It's just people. Yeah, I think it was about a year and a half ago. I actually remember where it was, and it's a really, really bizarre story. But I was in Bali of all places, because it was that year when I moved here, touring a lot with Corey Wong, and we had a gig at Java Jazz, which is in Jakarta, and the rest of the bands were going to go like back to the US, and you might have already figured this out about me by now, but like I have this kind of mentality of like, if like just getting to travel with music is just so surreal and cool. So I don't know if you've ever done something like this, but I just had this like spontaneous thing of like, I should like delay my flight back by a week and like spend some time in this part of the world because I've just never been here. Maybe easier to do as a man than a woman, actually, thinking about it, because I was just like on my own. But yeah, and I went to Bali, and then do you remember that the demo was called Rocky?
oh yeah. Why is that? I
Because
never asked or never quite.
because I watched the film Rocky for the first time
Oh,
ever.
really? That's why it was called that? I actually thought about that a lot. I was like, maybe it's like Rocky relationship, like because it's kind of like a song about. It's like a relationship
Oh
song.
right, that's really
So,
clever. I never thought of it like that. Yeah.
like maybe that's what.
It's like a relationship is a bit rocky. It's
I
feeling a
thought it
bit
was
rocky.
kind of a little like. But then this, I remember listening to, it, like he didn't say the word Rocky in the lyrics, so like I don't know where this came from. But now that's funny that I'm only finding that out right now. But
I
that's why.
know. That's and your theory on that is so much more clever than mine. Like I should have just not said anything, and then you could have believed that it was a lot more artistic than it really was.
Yeah, I mean, that's art. Like the more vague you are, the more people like project. Sometimes.
That's very true. Maybe we should have kept it as being called Rocky. Um, have you ever watched that film? No, you see, yeah, no, me. It was like it's one of those. I feel like it's one of those classics. Like people reference it all the time, and I just never seen it. So I was like, and you know, it was fine. Um, but I remember that night, just like I had this like tiny little MIDI keyboard, which is like an octave, and I wrote the chords and things, and I can't remember what stage it was in when I first sent it to you. I think I'd done some vocals on it, like a rough the vocals, and you changed them a lot though. You added lots of like really cool harmonies. You brought a lot of different stuff to the drums, especially as well. And we ended up basically making like I don't know what would you call it, like a indie pop song, because it's not what the final version is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was like, yeah, I actually have a clip of it. I have a clip of it just prepared by chance. But there's like loads of vocals which aren't even on the final thing. Can you hear this? this coming through? Yeah, okay. Kind of a banger, to be fair. I do miss this version of it.
Me too. It makes me a little like nostalgic or something.
Yeah, it's got a lot more nostalgia vibes, literally for us, but also just in the mood of it, I think. You're not loud enough on these vocals. The mix was all off.
Sounds good to me. I think you just. I remember when you sent it to me, your intention was for me to replace all your vocals, and then when I sang
Yeah.
the vocals, I was like, "Well, I like how your voice sounds on it," and you're like, "Well, I like how your voice sounds on it." And we were in like a "Who's gonna sing it" duel, and then we just
A battle.
on it. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I don't really consider myself a singer, even though like I found myself singing on songs. I grew up playing instruments and like singing in the car with my mum, like being an idiot, but not like singing. I don't know how. I mean, because I class you as a singer, but then
So funny is I'm mentally in the same space where you are.
right,
I don't identify as a singer because I grew up playing drums, and like I refused to sing until I was like 15, 16. And then I just was like, well, I'm writing songs with lyrics, I'm singing them now. And
right.
so
What pushed you over
now
that hurdle?
hmm?
I'm curious. Like, what was the thing that made you go over that, like that place of like, I'm not a singer, to like, okay, I'm gonna sing on my own songs.
um like honestly, like I had I placed in like a drumming contest online, and then a local record label reached out to me in San Diego. I met with someone there. They came to my house and they're like, "Oh, you have all these instruments set up. You play more than drums?" I'm like, "Yeah, I play guitar and bass and piano." And they're like, "Oh, do you sing too?" I'm like, "Ah." And they're like, not really well, not well." And so, but then he's like, "Well, you should make an album where you play everything and sing and songwrite it all." And I was like, "Okay." Like it was literally just someone else's idea,
Wow.
and that sounds fun. So my first album was essentially just me like learning how to sing, and then it's like the first 10 songs I wrote, and that's just the album.
Wow.
It's just like me at 15, 16, 17, whatever. I think I released it when I was like 17 or something, but like I was just like, I'm gonna write 10 songs. I didn't like refine them at all. I just like I didn't make 30 songs and cut the worst 20. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know what I didn't even really think about it at the time. I was kind of just like, I'm making an album, and then I sang on it, and then it really made me, it really pushed me, because I was like, even now, like I don't like singing. I wouldn't say is like my number one skill, I guess. Like if someone asks me like, what do you do? I never say I'm a singer. Like I say I'm a drummer or I'm a musician, but
Mhm.
it's not like an identity that I fully own or identify with it entirely still. I don't know if you relate to that.
Totally, totally. But yeah, that's so interesting, and I think there's something so cool as well about like being so young and writing music, and it's something that I kind of missed. Like, I don't know about you, but I found myself like, I used to do that a lot as a teenager, just like put music out like on SoundCloud or whatever. Not to the extent of you like releasing an album, but just like, just uploading, like making things, not overthinking them and just putting them online. And then later comes a stage where I went through a time of like way overthinking everything and like um considering what everyone else's opinion on the music is way above my own. And then it's kind of like being a process of unlearning all of that, like going back to being when you were like 15 and just like, oh, I'm just gonna sing for fun, and I'm just gonna this is a cool song. I've just written one song. I'm gonna put that out, rather than like I must write 30 songs and find the best 10 and like test them on TikTok and see what performs. Like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I kind of,
it's hard to unlearn that, and like yeah,
yeah,
there's something so pure about that initial like. I started songwriting when I was maybe 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then it's like I hadn't put anything out at that point, so I hadn't experienced any judgment except from like
right.
my sister or whatever, being like, I'm
That
trying
is some of the toughest
to.
judgment around, to be fair. Sibling judgment, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's funny how that And it's also it's like the turning not hobby, but like the passion into a career, and like that
Right.
process of changing the focus. So I don't know, I really relate to that, especially now, like I'm in that unlearning
Mm-hmm.
spot. Even like posting stuff online, it's hard to not. I used to post everything and just be like, whatever, just a post. And now I'm like, it's not perfect. It's not going out, you know, because but...
It's so funny. For me, it ebbs and flows. That like I'll be in a period of, and I say posting as if it's like posting on socials, but it also means it's more creative, like in a creative space of just being like, I'm gonna make this and show it to people, and not really like it's like you do care about what people think, but you also have to like not care, and you have to have like a confidence of like an assuredness of oneself of like, I made this and I'm proud of it. Have it. If you don't like it, don't like it, whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, but then sometimes I'll be in that phase, and then sometimes I'll be in a phase of like, and especially if I haven't posted or released stuff in a while, it's like trying to build up that momentum again.
Mm-hmm.
And the main momentum isn't with anything other than like oneself and just like feeling good about publishing something and not overthinking it.
Yeah.
At least what I find. Um, yeah, we could talk about this for hours. Like,
Well,
yeah.
what that made me think of is like I think the process of being an independent artist, especially now, is like there's a lot of points in what you're doing where it like makes you think about, like you write the song. I feel like it used to be like you write the song and record the song, and then like the label puts it out, or it kind of just goes off and does its thing. Now it's like, okay, I wrote the song. Do I still like it? I'm mixing the song. Do I still like it? I'm making the
Mm.
artwork for the song. Do I still like it? And it's like that voice in your head that's like, are you sure you want to put this out? Are you sure you want to put this out? And there's
Yeah.
like 20 of an artist, because it's like, okay, I'm logging it into CD Baby to put out. Okay, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm making a
There's
music
so many steps where you could question it, right? Yeah.
yeah, and so like I think about like the album that I have like coming out later this year, and I'm like, there's been so many times, like so many points where I've had to like just like stay, like you have to stay committed to it. It's like, I don't know.
I'm so
The
glad
other
that I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I'm so glad that you have done that because the album sounds insane. Like
thing,
I am excited for it to be out just so I can listen to it more conveniently in the car by just sticking it on. You know what I mean? Like and you know, I'm a fan of it. So I'm very happy that you have you've gone through all of those checkpoints of like, should I do this? Should I finish it? Should I release it? You know, and it's so tough as well when you're like handling, um, you know, whether you're doing it yourself or you're, you know, a DIY artist in the sense that you're hands on with it. Like all of those steps of like making a song, recording it, writing it, uh, mixing it, artwork, you know. Um, yeah, it's mad. And actually, I've always found you very inspiring in that regard because you've been, I mean, it's crazy. You've been doing this since you were like 15, like, and being a true like DIY artist, I think. I can see my dad's in the comments. Hi, Dad. See, some things never change, man. You move halfway across the world, and my dad's annoying me on my phone. Bless him. You're not annoying, Dad. You never were.
are there is your dad Philip?
No, my dad's Steve Bone Sachs.
Oh, I don't see any comments.
You're not seeing the comments? Oh,
No.
oh, you're missing out big time. You're not. Don't worry. Yeah. Well, I can't remember like where we kind of got to, but anyway, singing. I also don't. I feel similar to that. That I only started singing because I I was writing songs. I was making lots of beats and then like would have like a top line idea, would then write lyrics to fit the top line, and then because I had like the melody in the top line and the lyrics, it was like then finding a singer, and this is when I was like 16, 17, you know, so I was just like a kid on the internet as well, like finding someone to then sing that is I found really hard. So I just kind of started trying to sing myself. And, you know, it's a very different thing when you're singing live or singing with other musicians compared to when you're just at home and can record a load of takes by yourself and like make mistakes. And, you know, I wonder if that's like part of it, as to why you and I both wouldn't class ourselves as singers. I wonder if it's like a thing of being able to do it, because you've done a lot of singing with other people as well.
Like
So in those
pockets.
yeah, for example, like when you do a Scary Pockets thing, do you feel comfortable singing and not playing drums or playing any like keyboard or any instrument? You play so many, so like, how does that feel?
Like I think with Scary Pockets, I actually think of those sessions I've done with them as like kind of landmarks. Like I I've done a handful of like maybe 4 or 5 shows with them, and it's been spread out across a couple years. So like the first one I did was 2019. So I at that point I'd been singing for like maybe 3 years, but like I was not a confident singer. And like I remember that like I really struggled in that session. I was also playing drums and singing at the same time. I hadn't done a
Right.
lot of that. We kind of like their whole thing is you kind of just do things on the fly. I'm like, well, I'm comfortable drumming on the fly, but then singing and you know. So I remember that like the song it came out great and like I was really happy with it, but like it I was pretty nervous. And then like the next one we did, I was like, can I not drum this time? And then I realized like I showed up like, but if I'm not drumming, like what am I doing with my hands? So like because
Yeah,
I
that's
had
a big
never
one.
done that before. Like I only every video or any live performance, I'm always doing something with an instrument, and like I can't just like chill. So I that video I'm standing and my hands are just behind my back. I'm like completely still, and because I'm like thinking about like don't do anything, don't do
Right,
anything.
right, right.
So
Yeah,
it's like that was like that's like the only I think the only time I've done that even is like be a like a front or a lead singer, I guess. Like with
yeah,
that, there's a video we didn't. That must have been like 2021 or something. Um, but I was like, oh, like I'd actually like I kind of like this. Like I can focus fully. You know, there's something about like what I do with the live looping where I'm kind of spreading myself thin in a way where I'm like I feel like I'm underperforming on everything a little bit because I'm not fully focused on anything. Like if I'm drumming and singing, it takes a lot of repetition of the same song to get there with it. So if you're just doing like a one-off thing, it's like um, I'm like I if I focus on the drumming, my singing suffers. If I focus on singing, my drumming suffers. So I don't know. I found workarounds for that with like the live looping, but
yeah. I mean, I would
yeah.
say as a listener and viewer of those videos, like it that doesn't come across at all. It doesn't feel like it's any way watered down. But I guess there is a thing about when you're not looping, you're able to like add more nuance to each
Mm-hmm.
instrument thing over the course of the song. Whereas when it's looping, it's like more block based, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
but
also with like videos, it's like there's a lot of my like live loop videos. It's like the 20th take that you're watching, where like when I go and perform it live, like it's not gonna sound as good. Like it's my
right,
take. It's just there might be a mistake. There might be, but if you have the it's like listening to a not as good, but it's not gonna sound like a studio recording. Like you know, it'll sound live.
but I honestly like that's, and this is a whole other thing, but that's what I think a lot of people, especially maybe, I don't know if it's because of the internet and social media, but like to me, going to watch something live is never about going to try and watch perfection. And I found that really weird when I went to a music school where there was suddenly classical musicians around who were all chasing like their whole world. I mean, I'm massively summarizing and, you know, but like so much of it was about let's replicate this thing as perfectly as possible. And that is just like, for me, and you know, that goes into jazz and that goes into lots of music. And, you know, some people are judged for that online like crazy. And I think obviously like you want to be able to perform stuff so that you're doing the song justice and you're doing yourself, you're representing yourself properly. But like, I would never go to a gig and want perfection. Like, you want it to be live. That is literally the whole point. Like, um, yeah, I think that's, and I don't know if that's also part of being an instrumentalist. You know, maybe in that world, there's a lot of that. In like instrumentalist world, there's a lot of, especially for you with drums. Like, the drum world is crazy, man.
Mm.
with saxophone, it's not as like when I've been to the NAMM show a couple of times. That's a crazy place. It's full of drummers and guitarists, just like nerding out for the most perfect gear and perfect tone and this, that, the other, and like.
I appreciate that there are people that get so into it because it's like someone's got to do it, you know?
Yeah,
Someone's got to do that. Like I don't do that. I'm not like I wouldn't consider myself a gearhead, but I do care about my drums sounding good. So I'm like, you know, it's like
of course.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
important to yeah. I try to not get too. It's like yeah. I try to limit my knowledge of certain things to like a place where I don't feel like it'll dampen my creativity, but it also I don't know, it's like knowing a certain amount like expands your creativity about a lot of things. Like for me most recently it's like mixing and trying to
Mm.
get like I've been learning a lot about mixing to try to my goal is to be able to have my rough mix like more accurately reflect what I want out of the final mix like from whoever's mixing it. And so it's like it helps the creative process, but then at a certain point I'm like okay, there's like a certain level of this that I don't need to know that
Right.
won't necessarily help me creatively. And so, but I really appreciate that there are people out there that are so like, they're so in that, in their like, they know the plugins and they know, you know, because I'm like, you should mix this, you
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah.
just a different.
There comes a point where it's like chasing the final 10% or 5% of difference requires 90% of the work and time on or like nicheness in that subject. And also with mixing, it's interesting because like so much of that is creative versus like technical mixing. Like it might be like, oh, this snare has a ring at X amount of hertz EQ. Like that's just technical. But like when it's creative, you know, you're deciding like how roomy you want it to sound or like how like distorted things should be, and like that kind of stuff is also mixing, and like that stuff you want to have a handle over for your music because that's going to like totally affect the whole world of it, and like even then go into like the imagery around it, how you want to present the artwork, and like who you feel you are as a musician, and like what music you listen to. That all comes through on the mixing. That's really cool that you've been doing that. Is that how you've been working on this new music? I don't want to talk about it too much because that's in your hands, but like,
No, like yeah, I mean, I did rough mixes, and then like two of them, I ended up leaving my rough mix for the finals,
right,
and then the rest of them, like it kind of just depends. Like some of them, I'm like, oh, I actually feel really good about my rough mix, or I get attached to it, and then I sit with it for a while. But it's helped a lot with like also, it's like knowing. I find that like knowing other skill sets a little bit informs the other um disciplines or whatever, like knowing what makes something a little bit easier to mix will affect how I engineer it later. So I'm
right,
like
right,
I'm the one that has to mix my vocal. I'm like, oh man, I've been engineering this kind of bad. Like it's not the mixer's fault, this is my fault. Like I shouldn't be singing this close to the mic. Like I realized through the mixing process, like okay, I should be this many inches off the mic, not like right up on it like I've been.
right.
And so and I'm like, and so it's because there's I don't know, it's a process of like for a long time I didn't know, like going into it, you know, there's the songwriting element, the arrangement, the engineering, the performance, the mix, and like differentiating like what is affecting what. They all go together, and like even now that's something I'm kind of learning still. But I think I maybe when I was younger I would assume like, well, that's the mixer's job. That's what like they can only do so much with like a certain level of engineering, you know, all that kind of
Yeah,
thing. Um,
but
so I don't
then
know.
sometimes you get happy accidents. Like sometimes because the vocals are recorded not technically the best way, you get a really like unique, cool sound. And I feel like especially a lot of music now is kind of chasing that DIY bedroom thing. You know, like there's so many plugins that I see people using, and even I use. Um, Even though I'm not like recording in like a, you know, you've seen my place. It's not like a professional studio by any means, but like there's so many plugins which are there to like make stuff sound worse. And you know, I find that really interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm okay. So I'm curious. For the vocals, let's bring it back to our song. So the vocals for this, did you do them there? Did you do them at home?
I did here.
Okay,
I was tracking like recently. I was doing so many vocals on my album and so many like harmonies. I just brought my setup home and like so I could
do it
sit on
more
the bed, edit.
conveniently.
Yeah, but like here normally I'll give you a quick tour. It's not.
Let's have the rig rundown,
Yeah,
please.
well, not that I don't want to distract from what we're talking about, but normally I'll have like this is like my practice setup, I
This
guess.
looks
'Cause I
so
have.
cool. I would love to come and see this.
Oh, thank you. It's like
IRL.
it's limited to the certain zone. Like there's some if you like pan out, it's like what's up with this wall? Like
Oh, I can see where all the attention went. Yeah.
yeah, like I the camera goes here, but this is kind of like and there's like the ugly air conditioner up there. So I always shoot right there, you know. Yeah, normally like if I'm recording, I'll have my setup here,
Oh,
with
okay,
my
cool.
speakers. I have like uh I was trying to use like one of those clip-on mic stand things, but I didn't really like that. So I'll just have a standing mic or something. But right now, yeah, I don't have my setup going.
Someone says
Anyway,
in the comments, Emmett says it looks like an escape room with the black wall.
okay, you know what's crazy is I wish I could see the comments. I can't see any
I,
comments, and the viewer count has stayed the same the whole time.
I look, we're both. I don't know what I'm doing with this Instagram live thing.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like I'm just ignoring it and just chatting to you at this point.
I,
So whatever.
but I don't know what that's weird that I can't see any comments. I would respond, but I was thinking about I have like an extra room in the studio that I use for like visuals that I'm changing all the time. So like I had this idea to I hope none of my family's watching this, but they not that this is bad. No, this is a surprise for my family. Like my family
Oh
loves
wait. Okay, no. If this is a surprise to your family, you shouldn't say.
Oh, well I already basically said it, but
Or is
um,
it an escape room?
yeah, well I could like I want to build an escape room the room is a similar size to this one, so I'm like I want to build an escape room that's like what was my pet turtle's name when I was 5? Like they have to know all this
Oh,
stuff and
brilliant.
like like there's not actually hints in there, like they have to remember it or something and then stick them all in there and like actually lock them in.
With the demonic laugh after, just lock them in. Ah!
Well, they would like. I think they would like the intensity, because like a lot of escape rooms now, like they used to lock you in, and now they're like, there's an emergency exit and a big red button in
Oh,
case you're scared. And
yeah,
then
right.
there's the ones where you like have to sign a waiver where they're like, if you don't scream, we can touch you. Like
What?
that whole.
I-
Like there's
I've
crazy
never
escape.
been to an escape room, you know.
Really?
No, but I didn't know that they touch you.
Well, so there's like the puzzle-based ones. You always have to sign a waiver regardless, but there's like these crazy ones. There's this one I found in Orange County that's like no one would go with me. I tried to get someone to go with me, but like they basically you have to like crawl through all this stuff. Like they're allowed to cut your hair and they're allowed to touch you
Oh,
and they can like scare you and all this stuff and it's like it's crazy what they're allowed to do if you just sign a waiver.
the hair is next level.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big like, you know. Oh, you touch me, scare me, fine. Hair? Seriously, the hair? That's a big old like block from many people. I would say like I'd be up for that, but actually I'm not sure if I want to come out bald. Like
Yeah, there's people like there's reviews that are like, I hate this place, they cut my hair and like blah blah blah. I guess they give you like there's like a safe word that they tell you to say, but like apparently you have to say it multiple times for them to like I don't know, it sounds
for them
crazy.
to listen.
Now I sound crazy for saying that I like wanted to go to this and like no one would go with me, but
No, I mean if I was if I was bald, I'd go. You got Surely all of the reviews on Google are just like bald men, like just like yeah, this was great. I got a free haircut. I needed a
free
number
haircut.
one all over. Yeah,
Yeah, they should rebrand as free haircut.
free haircut with a side of terror. Well, okay. I mean, I can see your family enjoying that. That sounds pretty insanely cool. And I can actually imagine, I could see that being like a music video or something.
Mm.
Filming people in an escape room. Anyway,
That was
back to our song.
yeah, sorry. I like totally.
No, I love it. I love it. I'm just trying to. I mean, like we've kind of talked about how we met and how it came about. I guess the only
we talked
thing.
about the.
Oh, you go.
Well, like, let me ask you about because you like when you brought the song to me, it was, well, like fully written, and so like we haven't talked much about your creative process before that point of sending it to me, like the songwriting, the lyrics, and the chords, everything like that.
Yeah. Well, it started with because I had that little, I had that very small little MIDI keyboard, so I like did. I don't know if you can even hear this, but like I remember I made these chords, lush EDM plucks, which aren't even plucks, but whatever. And then, do you remember there was all this like piano stuff? There was all this.
Like a piano solo at the end.
Oh, and there was a whole bridge section with a piano solo.
Oh, that part was cool. Wait, you got to share that.
Oh, okay. Right, I'm gonna play it off the SoundCloud demo because I don't know if I have everything muted or whatever. Okay. It's this bit now, I think. Yeah. You have the crazy drum fills here as well.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a vibe, this, you know. And then it goes halftime. Yeah. I mean, what basically happened for me was we had that whole song, and then I thought, because I was releasing, by the time we started working on it, and then the time that it came to like finishing it, I was doing so much more electronic dance space stuff that I was like, this would just seem. It was like trying to find the right way to release it, and it just wouldn't fit in what my world of releases was. So then I started like experimenting with like almost remixing that, make it in what it is now. But it still has the core of that version. You know, it's like the kind of breakdown sections, and then the drop sections are like sampling those bits. So it's cool, but I still, when I listen back, I still love that. So it would be really cool if there was a way that we could like put it out. I don't know. We'd have to figure that out. But
Yeah, I mean, there's people like one of my favorite bands, Little Dragon. Like they have this one song.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
Like, you know that song "Best Friends"?
I don't think so.
Like I first heard this remix that I think it's a duo actually called Christian Rich, I think, and like I heard that version first. And I had no idea. I guess it was called a rework, but then I didn't even listen to the original until like years later. I was like, oh, interesting. So there's like, I think it's, and now I have both saved, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in the mood. They're just totally different vibes, but they're I feel like
Best Friends, and then the Christian Rich rework, right?
Yeah, they're both cool. It's a cool song.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that I love about remixes and that world from dance music is just this kind of freedom and permission to like just completely mess with a pre-existing song and like change the chords and beat and everything behind it. But doing that to one's own releases is quite interesting. I mean, I've done that a couple of times because of this very problem where I used to release more like jazz funk stuff, and then as I started moving more into like, instead of it being separate projects, like putting electronic music under my own name, then it was like, right, how do I? So I used to remix the songs I'd done as like a jazz funk song, and then release that as my own remix, which is very weird, but like that's kind of what this is, but just without that first step.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll talk about it because I do love that original.
Yeah, I hadn't actually listened to it in a while, and like hearing it back, I'm like,
I'm gonna send you the link now
yeah,
because I'm the same. I haven't listened to it in ages, and then I'm like, oh wait, this is really cool.
yeah, that piano solo.
That piano set, that was a voice memo on my girlfriend's home piano. I just like
A
needed.
voice memo, like on the phone.
Yeah, it was just like we just need to play like a placeholder. Like the original intention was just like, oh, there should be a solo here. So I just like voice memoed, and then I just never change it. That's what that is. But then it's that thing where you listen to it a lot, and then you start to learn it, and you're like, oh wait, you get kind of attached to it. Yeah. Okay. One thing I also wanted to do before we wrap up is I wanted to play the first.
The first demo.
I don't know if you ever heard this. I was probably too embarrassed to send it to you. Like the first version of me trying to like remix it.
Oh, okay.
Let me
Let's
see.
hear
it. Yeah.
it.
It's not great. I'll tell you that much. If I can get SoundCloud to work here, okay.
I like how you say you were too embarrassed to send it to me, so you're like, so now I'll play it for you and all these people.
I know, it's so stupid, isn't it? I don't know how that makes sense in my head, but it kind of does. Let me just share with the world my embarrassment demo. But so it's like sampling, kind of how the final version is now, like sampling the original. You might have heard this. There's this really embarrassing backspin here.
That's cool.
And then it's like this goofy like drop, and it's like all the chords are short. And it's cool, but it felt like it lost all of its like that nostalgia and that thing you were talking about from the original. If that felt like it lost it, so I was like then stuck for a while. I was like, right, how do we keep that? Try and keep that vibe, but like not lose that I don't know, that kind of dreaminess and coolness from the original. And then the kind of final thing I settled on was doing like based on that what I just played, but like adding more reverb and like space to it, and it just makes it feel more like late night drive, nostalgic, like dreamy, rather than like trying to be like really punchy and like yeah, there's a drop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like this now.
Yeah, I love where it ended up.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm super happy with it. And actually, it's interesting what you were talking about earlier about your voice, because your voice to me is so like it has such a lovely character on not only the original version of it, which you can still hear now, but like when I was like chopping your vocals like in sections like that and moving it, it feels so like ethereal. And it's also to me, maybe just because I'm like British, but it feels so Californian as
really?
well, which is really cool, because that, I mean, makes sense. You are Californian, but
oh, interesting.
yeah, just like accent and tone and just the vibe of it, just this kind of like dreamy, like kind of carefree quality to it almost. Yeah, it's really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's kind of covered everything about the song.
Are there can you see comments? Like if there's any questions that you want to answer from there?
Yeah, I kind of, well, what happened was my dad and my friend Elliot started, I did see that they started commenting mentioned some silly things, so I closed it. But let me open it again. Someone's asking to release the. Actually, it's Samuel. Okay, so Samuel did the artwork. Samuel's incredible. Shout out to him. It's the first time we've worked together. I have this whole thing with the artworks of them being like. I used to read comic books a lot as a kid, but not like Marvel, like American comic books, but more British ones and like Dennis the Menace and things like that. So I had this idea to like have a cartoon version of me in all of the artworks and have this like black, white, and green color scheme and all of this. So it's really cool. But then like finding illustrators and stuff has been a mission. And Samuel's just come on board for this one, and he's him and his partner have absolutely smashed it. So that's really cool. He's said we should release the piano, the version with the piano solo. So that might have to happen. Someone asked how did we meet? We talked about that. My dad called me a crazy nerd. Thanks, Dad. Someone, Emmett said that he's been making music for 10 years and he's never released anything because he always feels he finds everything wrong with it. That's so sad.
Is he asking for advice?
I don't know if he's asking for advice or if it's a statement, but I mean, I guess that was from what we were talking about earlier. You just have to push through it, right?
I don't have good advice because I do the same thing. So
Right. Yeah.
don't ask me. I put stuff out, but like it is just that's like that famous saying, art is never finished, it's just abandoned.
Right.
And then it's just choosing to put it out. I don't know. Once you break the barrier of doing it once, it makes it easier. And then like you were saying, like the longer you wait to put out another thing, the more anticipation there is. So like the more you just keep doing it, the easier it is, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he's just said that he's mostly worried about what other people think of it. And actually that's interesting because I remember when I moved to London, and like many of my peers, like my age, would find it weird that I was like I'd post stuff on social media, and most of it was probably rubbish. In fact, it was. But like, I've had conversations with many people about this thing where you're trying to, put yourself out there, but then from that comes judgment, of course, because you're putting yourself out there, and it's like that balance of like putting yourself out and receiving what people say, but also not caring so much that it stops you from doing what you're doing is such a hard balance to find. And I think it's interesting that you say that you also go through that to people, because even, to me, you're someone that I've like been following for I don't know how many years now. So I see you as someone that's so good at doing that, at putting things out and putting yourself out there and going and doing the thing and making music and being creative. And, so it's interesting to me that you feel like that. And I've certainly gone through many patches of that as well. I'm not sure I'm not sure what the way out is. I think it's just to kind of remind yourself. Yeah.
I think it's just like I've been thinking about this a lot because I'm like releasing an album this year. I haven't released an album since I was 17. It makes me think about that time. Because I guess I do albums in a 7-year cycle, which is like a lot longer than I would hope for, but whatever. But like I think like the first time I released an album, I was in high school. I was posting a bunch from like 16, 17, like I was in 10th and 11th grade or something. And I think people did judge me.
Like
they probably
people at school and stuff.
Yeah, like people
Yeah.
at the time, because in the beginning it's like just people seeing you being like, I think it's also more common now, maybe like back when I was doing that, it was like it's very popular to do that now, like for everyone to do that on TikTok or on Instagram. So I think maybe there's less judgment now, but maybe more. I don't really know. Like I guess I wouldn't know, but like then it expands from judgment from people that you know to judgment from people that you don't know.
Mm.
Which is, I don't know. I think some people might take the second one more personally. Some people might take the first one more personally. But for me, like, it was really easy. Like, the people in high school, like, for some reason at that time because I hadn't released anything yet, it was easy for me to not care about what they thought, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go through the ringer when you put stuff out, and you like have to see all these comments, and you have to read, and then what I found, the thing that was the hardest for me was like that once people online are saying things, then those people in your life like feel entitled to say things also, or like critique you or this or that, because they're like, well, like you're saying, like, well, you're putting yourself out there, you're asking to be
Oh,
judged.
that's so
And
interesting.
so like
Yeah.
that um I don't know what the best, because it's like on the one hand you don't want to say like, you could go the route like, screw what everyone thinks, I don't even care, but that doesn't really, I think, come from a place of like security, and like that is I
Comes from a
think
place
that's
of
where,
denial and pushing this aside, right?
because that's where I was mentally, like with my first album release when I was in high school. Like I was like, screw it, like I don't care what they think, I don't care, whatever. But then it's like when the people that I actually care about their opinion, when they like criticize it, I'm like, no, like
Mm.
that's like, I had a couple experiences, like I'd meet someone that I really admired, and then they'd criticize me or like not like my work or me or whatever it is, and like that was, it's just, I don't know, I think you just have to keep cutting through these layers where it's
Yeah.
like it's gonna keep kicking your ego over and over again, and that's kind of like a good thing. Like it's a good process to go through as a person, I think, to like put stuff out, and it like hurts and it's hard, but I don't know, am I making any
No,
sense?
you totally are. It's just making me think as well because like there's many examples of people's art that I respect, and they'll be like, let's say they're a musician, they might release songs that I love and just connect to for whatever reason that is, because everyone has their own set of like experiences and taste and everything, and that's like, I think that's a really good thing. Although I'm the opposite now, but I think it's really good that people are unique in that respect. And there's many times from my perspective as a consumer where like there'll be someone that I love and respect as an artist, um, but they might release some stuff that I just don't connect with, and that's fine. But like having to like be with myself as a listener or as a consumer, like, but I can respect that they're going for it or they're trying something, and like that might not connect with me, but it will obviously connect with other people. And even if it doesn't connect with anyone but them who made it, sometimes that's important. And maybe like in 10 years time you'll listen to it. That's happened with me actually more recently with a lot of music that I used to be told was incredible when I was like 10 years ago, and I was just like, I don't get it. And it's happened a few times where like I listen back now and I'm like, maybe it's because I'm able to attach my own judgment on it rather than the judgment of someone else saying, this is good music, you should like this, you shouldn't like this. I'm able to listen to it in like a free mindset and be like, oh, I actually do like this or elements of this, or you know um so I don't know, I kind of try and treat myself as an artist with that same um freedom and generosity of like, well, you can do stuff which people aren't going to like, but really, unless they're like a bit of a dick, they should give you the benefit of the doubt of like, that's just because they don't connect with that thing. That's not a comment on you as a person. Like, you suck as a person because you put out a song I don't like, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really, in some ways it's so deep, and in some ways it's such surface level as well. It can be really shallow. And I think, so much of how people consume stuff nowadays maybe is shallow because there's so much stuff, and there's like, so in the end, it's just like, I think it comes down to expressing yourself as the first thing, the most important thing. That's got to be ticked off the box. Like, because if you're not doing the things you want to, then you're denying yourself um, expressing what truly you believe in. And then, you know, because then if you're putting out stuff that you, and I've been through this, if you put out stuff that you don't fully believe in, but you think other people will like it never works.
Mm-hmm.
Like people never dig stuff that, because I feel like people can tell. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. It's really weird, isn't it? um, I don't really know how to summarize that. It's interesting to hear how you find it, though. Yeah, I'd be interested to chat more about this, but we don't have to do it on Instagram Live.
Well, we've had some conversations, and with like Alicia too, like
Right.
about this kind of thing, about like how do you, yeah, deal with criticism? How do you stay true to what you actually want and not cloud that with what you think you want or what you think other people want? Because it is kind of, if you don't sit and think about it for a while, I think it's easy to get swept up in what you. To me, the most like alluring one is like what you think you want, and so it's like, well, I think I want this, but then if I don't know, for me at least, I think some people just know what they want, and I really admire those people that like can just, they're like, I'm doing it my way, and I don't care, and they just
Yeah,
know. And
but it's interesting because that's kind of how I see you, and that's what's really interesting is like the music I've, especially like this new stuff, man, like the music and all of it that I've heard is so like you just putting your foot down of like, this is what I want to make. And that to me is really cool. And that's what makes it so incredible as well, is that like, and I can say, and I know Alicia's the same, like when you've played as it, like we actually love it as like fans, but even if we didn't connect with it for whatever reason, I would still have full respect for it because it's such a clear, like, this is what I want to do and I'm doing it thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So if that helps.
I think I feel that way about this project, and like I think it's taken me a long time to get to do this kind of project, and I just haven't always felt like that. Or
Yeah,
maybe like I felt pushed to do things, I just don't put them out, and so my career is stalled. There's these blocks with people that you work with, where there is a lot of like getting told what to do. I think, especially when I was younger and being a woman, I'm sure like everyone experiences it to some degree, but like
you were so young as well. So like, how are you supposed to have how like that can only come from experience and time and learning about oneself. And when you're like 16 years old and putting out an album and you know, this must be so exciting doing it, like getting ready to do it again, but from a whole different perspective, I feel. Um,
yeah, yeah, I'm excited for it. You're cutting. I can't totally hear you. Is your like?
oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Is it better now?
yeah.
Oh, I think I had my hand on my microphone. I'm so bad with this. I don't know what I'm doing. We're probably not even live right now. It's probably just me
I
FaceTime. But
still can't see any comments or anything, so I have no idea of it.
uh, um, oh well, Emmett said thanks for the advice. That's very sweet. Um, someone said that they came. I used to play at Ronnie Scott's a lot in London, and they went to that. That's very sweet. I had a lot of fun at those gigs. I'm going to be playing in London again, I think, trying to work it out, but later this year. And I'm also going to be playing in LA, I think, later this year. And I'm trying to plan something in New York as well. So if anyone has any suggestions of places or link ups, please let me know. Or places that you'd like me to play. Are you going to be? Have you got plans to like tour? Do you think, or do you not know yet?
Yeah, I actually just had my first meeting about that.
Really?
Like
Oh, sick!
right
What
before
great
we.
timing.
Yeah, like we're planning on, like, my album is supposed to come out in February, with like maybe 4 or 5 singles like starting in September, and then and then I'll try to tour it.
Awesome.
I'm not gonna try to tour. I am gonna tour it. I just don't know what that's gonna look like yet because of all these things. But I've got a vision for it.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like karaoke, dance party, like.
Wow. I mean that's you've just ticked my first two boxes on things I want to do when I go out. So actually no, that's the first when
I
we
know.
first met we did karaoke. Oh man, that's the only time I've ever done karaoke in my life, and I still sometimes wake up with like a stress stream from that.
That was the first time I did karaoke too, and it was
Really?
like,
That was oh, because you seem so like
no,
confident. You were
I
just like, yeah, let's go and do it.
no, I didn't even sing. Like, I don't know if you remember, I was like not singing the whole time and then just laughing.
Bro, we did a duet of I'm never gonna dance again.
Oh, we did. I forgot about that. Yeah, you brought your saxophone, and I
No,
did.
Careless Whisper. Careless Whisper?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's a great song. I murdered it, unfortunately. I think the sax bit was okay. It's more the trying to sing the chorus, but it's definitely out of range. And yeah, I think there was a lot of confused people in that bar that night. But you sounded great though.
Uh, it was my bad. I saw a video back. I was
Yeah,
like, oh man,
I know. I think I've got video of it too, and I actually haven't
that's
watched it back because I'm like stressed. I know what it's going to sound like, and I'm terrified.
Yeah, I'm never watching that again.
Thankfully, this song isn't like that.
Yeah,
And yeah,
we're like doing a terrible job promoting ourselves. Yeah,
I know. We're like, we both do terrible singing. Please listen to our song where we're both singing. Yeah, great. We just to let the people know as well, we're going to be doing a video, which is exciting. So I can't wait. That's going to be cool to kind of, as we said, like like do the live instruments side of it more because I think that's a big part of what we both do.
You're gonna need a keyboard solo at the end.
Oh no, keyboard. So all right, I better get practicing.
I'll have to play all those crazy chord changes underneath it on like another keyboard or something.
Deal done. All right.
it's yeah.
Right. Well, I guess we should leave it there because we've been chatting for like an hour and you probably have plenty of things to do. So, thank you.
To go prep the session for our live video.
Yes, you are. That's actually what I'm just checking up that you're still doing it. So.
I know. I was like, it's on my calendar for Saturday, and then it was on my calendar for Sunday, and then I came to my studio and it was like a mess, and I was like, well, I can't work now. I had to clean it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
I know how it is. I spent a day vacuuming my tiny ass house, so it takes 2 minutes. But anyway, wicked. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for doing this song. Thanks everyone for going and listening to it. We had some like awesome support on playlisting and everything, so that's always cool. But most of all, just people listening to it. That's really cool. And I'm so excited that like, because this is the first song you've. I know it's not like your project, but like the first song you've put out in a while.
2
So that's
I know, kind of create 3 years maybe.
3 years. Oh my man. Well, that's an honor that I'm a part of it.
2023 was the last time I put something out, so it's been 2 years.
2 years. 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as impressive. Fine. Okay. Fine. 2 years. No, but that's such a pleasure to be involved in it, and like, thank you for being on board. And go stream the song, everyone. Go listen and watch out for the video coming soon. Awesome. Right. Cheers, Elise. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Alex.
Bye.